back to my channel, Bipolar Badass. I decided that today I'm going to just spew off facts about bipolar disorder and hopefully clear up some misconceptions that you may have about it. For starters, and this is a big deal for a lot of people who plan on having children, when you reproduce, your child has 15 to 30% chance of inheriting bipolar disorder from you. So I know that that plays a role in, couples where one or both of the spouses have mental illness. There is that chance that your child will get it. It is hereditary, is one of the very few reasons people have bipolar disorder. The rest would be external stress factors, something along the lines of PTSD. The second fact of the day, 3 times more women than men experience rapid cycling and have depressed episodes as their main side effect. For me personally, mania is my prominent side effect and symptom, whatever. I very rarely experience depressed episodes, but when I do, they're typically pretty bad. And then third would be that approximately 51 people with bipolar disorder go untreated. And there's a huge problem with this because you can spiral out of control, and that kind of leads to my my next bipolar fact. There's a 1 in 5 chance that somebody with bipolar disorder commits suicide. And that does fall into those that are left untreated because we have those really strong impulses. And that does not just include, going party or building stuff. That also includes suicide. And if that impulse hits somebody who is untreated, they can very well follow through with it. And in their mind, it'd be completely rational and the only option they have. And I can speak from experience that med management and therapy are both very vital treatments for you. Like we need them. And it took me many years to accept that and be okay with knowing that I will need to be on medication the rest of my life. If that keeps me from taking my life in a spur of the moment depressed episode, then so it's worth every dollar that I spend on my medication. Every morning I take it, every night I take it. It's worth it if it keeps me alive. That's why it's kind of a common saying that people with bipolar disorder, it is a terminal illness. Next would be approximately 5.7 million people in the United States alone suffer with this disorder. Of those 5.7 million, about 83% have severe cycles. It's extreme mania that leads into psychosis, which is, like I explained in one of my other videos, that is when you reach a point of mania where you hear voices or you see things and the reality is different in your eyes than it is happening. Delusions are a big part. That is something I have experienced, and looking back and reflecting on it, at that point in time, I didn't think anything was wrong outside of me working too much. I was unaware that there was stuff I was seeing that was not really there. There were conversations I was having that in my mind, due to the delusions, I understood it very, very differently than what it really was. I developed paranoid fears and just paranoid behavior. I added extra locks in my house because I was convinced that somebody was coming in my house while I was asleep. So that goes back to med management. It's super important to take your meds and follow up with therapy to keep yourself from going through those stages, because the only person who knows that it's not in your just in your head, like you feel it is very, very, very real. Next, 2/3 people who have bipolar also have a family member suffering from the disease. It is very hereditary, and it's prevalent in research. And just look at your family history. I'm sure there's somebody down the line that you can point out, like, hey, you may have bipolar. Let's see. I have several notes above my screen to bring it up. Another thing that I also wanted to touch on, because I do plan on discussing bipolar and relationships and the level of detrimental it can be if you are untreated. 90%. Okay, got cut off by a phone call, but where I was going is that 90% of couples where one or both of the parties are bipolar, there's a 90% divorce rate, guys. 90. And I myself am part of that 90. I was divorced before I was 25. So taking care of yourself, whether it be medication, therapy, or just common self-care practices, that can alleviate a lot of the stress of, like, divorce. It sucks. Now that I understand my disorder better and I have researched it and I can pinpoint specific triggers, it still makes relationships a bit hard, but at least I'm able to be open and can explain what is a symptom of my disease, and when I'm being irrational due to very erratic, quick-paced thoughts going through my head, I'm able to vocalize all of that, and even to the point of explaining it and my partner having empathy about it, not necessarily understanding, but he can get a grasp of what's going on in my mind. And you know, if I cycle into depression, it makes it easier to just say, I am having a bad day, or I'm having a hard time. I just need you to support me. As opposed to when I was married and I was going through depression, my mind, it was all his fault. You're the one doing this to me. You're the one stressing me out and making this come on. And that it's the exact opposite of that, guys. We just take the time to study your disorder. And for each person, it is very different. Like I said, I am primarily manic. So I just have to redirect my mania into productive stuff. Also, another fact, I didn't write this one down, but I do remember reading about it. Most people with bipolar disorder also have an addiction. And that kind of folds in with, you know, being manic. You want to drink and you want to party and you want to be the life of the party. And that drinking just rolls over into depression, where you want to drink to numb yourself. That was one of my biggest issues, was alcohol. But I also self-medicated with prescription drugs that were not mine. I'm not like that anymore. I have my own little happy pill cocktail, and that seems to be working for me, as my episodes are very short, much shorter, and they're not as intense right now. So with that being said, you know, I keep talking about medication and having med management. It is very important. But you can also feel like a science experiment going into it, because it takes a few tries to find either the single drug that helps you or the combination that you need. Mine, I'm on 4 different ones, and it's working, guys. I'm not tearing up shit to build shit. Like, I'm not going to Lowe's and spending $200 to build a bed that I'm not going to use because I don't even have a mattress to fit in it right now. Or going on a shopping spree. My medication helps with all of that. And self-medication does not. Self-medicating with, for example, Xanax, that'll calm you down at the moment. But it doesn't treat what's actually going on in your brain. So those are just a few of the little factoids I looked up just to share with you. And if there's anything else you want to know, drop a comment below and let me know. I do nothing in my spare time but read and research to try and understand bipolar disorder and a few other disorders, as you know, PTSD, like I said in my original video that I will discuss with you. And I also want to get a little input about what you believe is a symptom of your disorder, because it is very different between each patient to the next. Like I said, my mania is a big deal, but I also have depressed episodes that when I'm rapid cycling, they're prevalent because I go from really, really high to really low really quickly. So just go ahead and let me know what you guys would like to discuss next, what symptoms you seem to be having, or even what advice you would like to get for your spouse or partner, and we'll dig into that. So I'll talk to you on the next one. Thanks.